Hi, thanks so much for joining me for my top blushes and top bronzers of 2023. Okay, let's start with something that you already know is going to be in this video if you've been here even once before. It's the Valentino. This is actually an eye to cheek product, but I mostly use it for my cheeks. I don't usually wear it on my eyes. And this one is a newer one that I have. It's number 9. This other one that I have has definitely hit pan, so I have a new one ready to go. But this one has, look at how interesting the difference is between the older one and the newer one, but they are the same shade. But I love this one so much because it has just the right amount of glow, not too much glow, but just enough to give a healthy appearance to the skin while also doing some blurring because it is dispersing the light. The finish to this blush makes the skin look really healthy, and it also helps to disrupt the discoloration that I have here, so it's not as obvious. So I do help this to help improve the evenness of my skin, not only to add color, it has the loveliest bit of warmth to it. It's the perfect color for my skin tone, so it just brings a lot of life to my face. When I'm not sure what blush to use, it's going to be this blush because it's got the right color and the right finish and goes with pretty much everything. So love this Valentino blush. You've heard so much about that this year. This one is fairly new to me, but I was so impressed with it when I tried it, and I don't know why I haven't tried these before. These are the Patrick Ta blushes. Actually, I just have the one Patrick Ta blush. This one is in the shade She's That Girl, so it's got some pinkiness to it. It looks really vivid in the pan, but it's not actually that bold once you put it on. So it has a cream and a powder side. So in this case, the powder is applied first and then the cream on top, with the idea that the cream texture is going to take away any of that makeup look that can be a little bit powdery, and it brings the glow back to the skin as if it's a natural finish to the skin. And it's such a brilliant idea, and I don't know if I've ever really applied blush like that before. I know I've applied cream and powder together, but in the reverse order. So ever since then, I've been applying powder products and then trying some cream products on top to see if this is something that can be generalized into blush application. So far so good, and I am loving the results. What a beautiful blush. What a great idea. So I do definitely want to pick up other shades of this, but this one was one that quickly impressed me, and I'm not sure why I didn't try this before. So I believe this was a recommendation of yours, so thank you so much for letting me know. And then we've got this Chanel blush, and I don't know why this has been so difficult to get a hold of. This is number 68, Rose Ecrin. It's not too warm, it's not too cool, it's right in the middle. So I can use this with warm and cool palettes, and actually I'm gonna add a little now just because I don't have it on right now. I have a different Chanel blush. Actually, I have some other Chanel blushes on for a different thing I was doing. So let's add a little bit of this, but I'm not sure what the story is on this one. Put a little bit of red lipstick on top of the Chanel lip that I had on also. So I needed to get this to be, just fix my hair a little bit here. I just needed to get this just a little bit cooler. It's just one of those things that I pull for when I'm not sure exactly what blush to use. This one always works. Not sure what's happening with that blush, but it has been a constant go-to. Speaking of another blush that works well with almost everything, it's this one by Chantecaille. This is Sea Turtle, and it's one of those blushes that's kind of like Rose Ecrin. It's a more traditional formula, but it goes well with almost everything. And you can see they are very similar, and that's probably the reason why I love them both. But you can see that Rose Ecrin is just slightly cooler, and there's a slightly warmer tone to Sea Turtle. And just like the other one, I love to blend this with other colors, like a pop of color, and then I'll put this just to blend it all in. It works well up here in the front. So I bring my blush up here, like almost over the bridge of my nose. Actually, I started doing that now to kind of connect the two. So I've always placed blush right up here. So blush is very front and center on my face. It's not something that's out here, so it needs to really perform well on top of texture because I've got pores here. I'm adding concealer because of the dark spots, and I need powder products or even cream products, I'll talk about one in a moment, that do not emphasize that texture. So that's why blushes are very particular. A lot of blushes, especially with more shimmer, are not blushes I'm going to pull for because it will emphasize that texture. So I go for blushes that have almost a matte finish or just a satiny glow to it. Nothing really with chunks of glitter because it's just going to bring about that texture. And then we've got here for my cream blush, we've got the Victoria Beckham in Major. And this is the color, and you can see a theme here because a lot of these shades are right between that warm and cool they're all kind of in the same neighborhood. Enough warmth to help blur these dark spots here, but cool enough that it's not a warm blush. So it's interesting that these are the blushes I end up with when I haven't really compared them, but those are the things I end up liking. So I'm just putting a little bit of Major on top of this to kind of do that Patrick Ta finish. A little bit of a healthier glow back to the cheeks. Okay, on to bronzers. So there are a few that I've been really using over and over again this whole year, and one that I didn't use as much, but I'm always impressed with it. So we've got here the Real Bronze in Sirena by Chantecaille. So this has been a favorite of mine year after year. The tone here is more golden and it always has a very skin flattering kind of finish, just like all Chantecaille products typically do. They really flatter the skin. So this is one that I've used year after year after year and still continues to perform really well, especially compared to some of the newer generation type bronzers that are coming out. Still can compete with those. We have another bronzer from a company that's known for their bronzers. It's GUERLAIN, and we have here their Terracotta bronzer, and this one is in shade 3. It also has a lovely golden tone to it. You'll notice the bronzers that I pick have more of a golden tone because of my skin tone. Usually when bronzers have a pinkier or a gray tone or a red even, they don't work as well on me. I need them to be more warm. So even though I have some neutral tones in my skin, the golden bronzers tend to work the best. And GUERLAIN is known for their bronzers. They also have a very skin flattering kind of appearance to them. Then we've got here, not necessarily a bronzer, but I love this with the Water Fresh tint. So this is a Water Fresh tint product, but this one is in the shade Deep. So I'll use this, I'll mix it in with my Medium Plus, and I'll use it as a bronzer when I use the Water Fresh tint because it is so lightweight. It melds with the skin. It doesn't move around, especially in the heat. So if you haven't tried that trick yet where you take a deeper bronzer, not a bronzer, a deeper shade in the Water Fresh tint, mix it in with your current shade, you can make that a bronzer and it looks so beautiful. Or you can just use this. Only thing is it's a little bit, if there's too much of contrast, it's a little bit harder to work in. So I'd mix it in, or you can mix in like 2/3, 1/3, depending on what shade you are to begin with, and get it to a nice tone. So I love this with the Water Fresh tint. I love this for the summer. And then we have a bronzer that I only typically use when I do a look with this brand, but it's the Clé de Peau bronzer. It's lovely. I have this one in the shade, what shade are you? This is the shade 2. So you can use them separately, you can use them together, but I think this is such a lovely one. Clé de Peau is one of those companies that does powder products very, very well. Very skin flattering, and also, you know, I love their concealer, but this one is beautiful. So if you're looking for a Clé de Peau bronzer, this one does have enough color for me. Sometimes Clé de Peau can tend to have more offerings for lighter skin tones, especially focusing on Asia, but this one is deep enough that you can see it on me. It's really pretty. And then the one that I kind of rediscovered this year is this one by HERMES. This is Atlas, and you can see really how golden this is. It's such a beautiful finish as well. It has a lovely skin enhancing kind of finish, but the thing that I love most about this is that tone. It is golden. It is one of the very few golden tones, and maybe you will see that in the swatch comparisons, how golden this is compared to others. Because let me just see for myself right now. Just picked up the Clé de Peau. Definitely doesn't have any red undertone. Also, this one doesn't look like it's going to be visible on my skin tone. Actually, looks like it might just be a powder on me, but it's definitely visible on my skin. You can definitely see this and build it up. Oh gosh, this is why I don't part my hair on the side anymore, because it looks different in every frame here. But that is it for my blushes and bronzers. Those are some of the most powerful products I can use because they will both bring structure and life to my face. Those are 2 steps that if I skipped them, my makeup would turn out so differently, because I'd be missing, especially up here, this transition for my forehead, because it is deeper right here from here to here. And then also the blush. The blush always brings life to my face, and I can go with a lighter lipstick because of that. Sometimes if I go with a light lipstick and there's no blush, I definitely look like I need to add one more thing. So this is one of the first videos working our way to the favorites of 2023. I'll pick one blush, I'll pick one bronzer, one eye palette, foundation, powder, etc. And we'll come up with a look of my most loved products of the year. Do let me know what you've been loving for blushes and bronzers this year. I would love to know. I get some really wonderful recommendations from you, so please do leave your favorite blushes and bronzers down below. Especially if I had not mentioned them here, I'd love to know what those are. But that is it for today's video, so please take care of each other, stay well. If you enjoyed this video, If you learned something, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you next time.